Show me, Lord, show me the way. Lord, I need you to show. Please, Jesus, show me the way. Because I'm down here, Lord, and I need your awesome power to show me the way. Lord, I'm your child, Lord, and I need you, Father.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome again to our Wednesday Bible study. We thank you so much for tuning in and studying with us. We've been in a series the last few weeks about the life of David, King of the Jews. Now, our approach in this study is to read as much of the Bible text as possible to show the progression of the shepherd king into the greatest shepherd boy into the greatest king in the history of God's people. Some incidents you may recognize and some you may not, which is why we're reading as much of the text as possible. Now in chapter 10, David wins more battles against the enemies of Israel. Let's look at 2 Samuel chapter 10, verses 1 through 6. And it came to pass after this that the king of the children of Ammon died, and Hanun his son reigned in his stead. Then said David, I will show kindness unto Hanun son of Nahash, as his father showed kindness unto me. And David sent to comfort him by the hand of his servants for his father. And David's servants came into the land of the children of Ammon. And the princes of the children of Ammon said unto Hanun their lord, Thinkest thou that David doth honor thy father, that he hath sent comforters unto thee? Hath not David rather sent his servants unto thee to search the city, and to spy it out, and to overthrow it? Wherefore Hanun took David's servants, and shaved off the one half of their beards, and cut off their garments in the middle, even to their buttocks, and sent them away. When they told it unto David, he sent to meet them, because the men were greatly ashamed. And the king said, Tarry at Jericho until your beards be grown, and then return. And when the children of Ammon saw that they stank before David, the children of Ammon sent and hired the Syrians of Beth-rehob and the Syrians of Zobah, 20,000 footmen, and of the king of Maacah 1,000 men, and of Ishtab 12,000 men. Now, David's act of kindness is poorly received, and his ambassadors are rudely treated by the Ammonites. Now, the reason for this insult is an apparently unwarranted suspicion of David's motives. Sometimes, even when you do the right thing, folk will misread your motives. They may have remembered that Saul fought against them and that they were enemies to Israel. However, their king, who had just died, had done a great service to David, and his attempt to send condolences was rebuffed. Out of compassion, he told his men, you guys wait at Jericho until your beards grow back so as to avoid further embarrassment. He sent them away in shame. So, after they've insulted David's ambassadors, they knew that war was coming. So what they did was they called the Syrians and hired 33,000 Syrian mercenaries to fight with them. Picking up at verse 7 in 2 Samuel chapter 10. And when David heard of it, he sent Joab and all the host of the mighty men. And the children of Ammon came out and put the battle in array at the entering in of the gate and the Syrians of Zobah and Rehob and Ishtab and Makah were by themselves in the field. When Joab saw that the front of the battle was against him before and behind, he chose all the choice men of Israel and put them in array against the Syrians. And the rest of the people he delivered into the hand of Abishai his brother, that he might put them in array against the children of Ammon. And he said, if the Syrians be too strong for me, then thou shalt help me. But if the children of Ammon be too strong for thee, then I will come and help thee. Be of good courage, and let us play the men for our people and for the cities of our God. And Jehovah do that which seemeth to him good. All right, so here's the battle plan. Finding his troops confronted in front and back. The Ammonites are at the city, the Syrians are in the field, and they got two battle fronts. Joab then decides to divide his forces into separate detachments. His forces are chosen from the army's best, and they'll fight the Syrian mercenaries. The other group is going to go with his brother Abishai, and he's going to fight against the Ammonites at the city gates. And he tells him, he said, whoever needs help, the other one come. If they're too strong for us, you come help us. If they're too strong for you, we'll come and help you. His command, fight for the cities of our God, and Jehovah do that which seemeth him good. Looks like they're about to win a battle, y'all. Picking up at verse 13. And Joab drew nigh, and the people that were with him into the battle against the Syrians, and they fled before him. Look at these mighty mercenaries that were hired to fight against Israel with the children of Ammon. Now they're running. Verse 14. When the children of Ammon saw that the Syrians were fled, they fled also before Abishai and entered into the city. So Joab returned from the children of Ammon and came to Jerusalem. All right. So crushing was the defeat of the Syrians at the hands of Joab that they ran. And when the Ammonites saw this, they ran too. God brought victory to his people once again. Remember why they're fighting. They're fighting for the cities of God. And Joab said, let God do what seems pleasing unto him. Now, the latter part of this chapter shows the Syrians gathering their forces to avenge this loss to Joab. When they were soundly defeated, again, we read in verse number 19 of 2 Samuel chapter 10, and when all the kings that were servants to Hadarezer saw that they were smitten before Israel, they made peace with Israel and served them. So the Syrians feared to help the children of Ammon any more. They're like, look, y'all got us into a war before with Israel, and they beat us soundly. We're not going to help you anymore. This little known incident in David's life contributed to the man he became. Notice how he was compassionate even to the enemy, because the king at that time did him a service while he was running from Saul. And so he decided, I'm going to send my condolences by my ambassadors, and we saw what happened when he did. Picking up at 2 Samuel chapter 11. And it came to pass, after the year was expired, at the time when kings go forth to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel. And they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. But David tarried still at Jerusalem. And it came to pass in an eventide that David arose off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. And David sent and inquired after the woman. And one said, is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? And David sent messengers and took her, and she came in unto him, and he lay with her. for she was purified from her uncleanness. And she returned unto her house. And the woman conceived, and sent and told David, and said, I am with child. And David sent to Joab, saying, Send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah to David. And when Uriah was coming to him, David demanded of him how Joab did, and how the people did, and how the war prospered. And David said to Uriah, Go down to thy house and wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mess of meat from the king. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and went not down to his house. And when they had told David, saying, Uriah went not down unto his house, David said unto Uriah, Camest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst thou not go down into thy house? And Uriah said unto David, The ark, and Israel, and Judah abide in tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open fields. Shall I then go into my house to eat and to drink, and to lie with my wife? As thou livest, and as thy soul liveth, I will not do this thing. And David said to Uriah, Tarry here today also, and tomorrow I will let thee depart. So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day, and the morrow, and when David called him, he did eat and drink before him, and he made him drunk. And at even he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his lord, but went not down to his house. It came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab, and sent it by the hand of Uriah. And he wrote in the letter, saying, Set ye Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die. It came to pass when Joab observed the city, that he assigned Uriah unto a place where he knew that valiant men were. And the men of the city went out and fought with Joab, and there fell some of the people of the servants of David. And Uriah the Hittite died also. Then Joab sent and told David all the things concerning the war, and charged the messengers, saying, When thou hast made an end of telling the matters of the war unto the king, and if so be that the king's wrath arise, and he say unto thee, Wherefore approach ye so nigh unto the city when ye did fight? Knew ye not that they should shoot from the wall? Who smote Abimelech the son of Jerubbesheth? Did not a woman cast a piece of a millstone upon him from the wall, that he died in Thebez? Why went ye nigh the wall? Then say thou, Thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. So the messenger went, and came and showed David all that Joab had sent him for. And the messenger said unto David, Surely the men prevailed against us, and came out unto us into the field. And we were upon them, even unto the entering of the gate. And the shooters shot from off the wall upon thy servants, and some of the king's servants be dead. And thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. Then David said unto the messenger, Thus shalt thou say unto Joab, Let not this thing displease thee, for the sword devoureth one as well as another. Make thy battle more strong against the city, and overthrow it, and encourage thou him. And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah her husband was dead, she mourned for her husband. And when the morning was past, David sent and fetched her to his house, and she became his wife, and bare him a son. But the thing that David had done displeased Jehovah. All right, I know you've been waiting for this episode in David's life, and certainly it's a very tragic incident in his life. But let's look at what the Bible says. Proverbs chapter 6, verses 16 through 18, to set the stage for our discussion of this episode. These 6 things doth Jehovah hate. Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him: a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift to running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. These 7 things are an abomination before the eyes of Jehovah. Now, of the 7 things that the Lord hates, David did 4 of them. What were they? 1, a lying tongue. He brought Uriah to him under false pretenses. 2, hands that shed innocent blood. He was a noble man, a loyal servant of the king, a loyal soldier, a loyal fighting man. And David shed his blood. Number 3, a heart that devises wicked imaginations. He had to plot and think up this plan to have Uriah go down and be with his wife and pretend that the baby Bathsheba was about to deliver belonged to her husband. When that didn't work, he devised a plan, said, let's get him drunk. Maybe then he'll go and lay with his wife. When that didn't work, he devised a plan to have Joab put him at the hottest part of the battle so that he would be killed. That's a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations. And number 4, feet that be swift in running to mischief. He didn't ask God about the situation. He didn't consult the prophet Nathan about the situation. All he did was go deeper and deeper into his sin. No wonder the Lord was displeased. David showed that there are many ways to fall into sin. His unchecked desire for another man's wife, his attempt to cover it up, and murder are but a few. So I'm going to ask you, think about this for a second. How would you suggest that we avoid some of the ways of sin that we fall into? You know, it's bad to have a bad episode in your past, but it seems to me to even be worse to be defined by that bad episode. There are many of us who can think of things that we've done that we wish we had not done, but we don't want that to be the defining moment in our lives. 2 Samuel chapter 12, beginning at verse 1. And Jehovah sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him and said unto him, there are 2 men, one in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing save one little ewe lamb, which he had brought and nourished up, and it grew up together with him and with his children. It did eat of his own meat, and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter. And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock, and of his own herd, to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb, and dressed it for the man that was come to him. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man, and he said to Nathan, as Jehovah liveth, the man that hath done this thing shall surely die. And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man. Thus saith Jehovah God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul. And I gave thee thy master's house, and thy master's wives unto thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah, and if that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things. Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of Jehovah to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Now therefore, the sword shall never depart from thy house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus said Jehovah, Behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of this sun. For thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against Jehovah. And Nathan said unto David, The Lord also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die. Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of Jehovah to blaspheme, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die. And Nathan departed into his house, and the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto David, and it was very sick. David therefore besought God for the child, and David fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth. And the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the earth, but he would not, neither did he eat bread with them. And it came to pass on the seventh day that the child died. And the servants of David feared to tell him that the child was dead, for they said, Behold, while the child was yet alive, we spake unto him, and he would not hearken unto our voice. How will he then vex himself if we tell him that the child is dead? But when David saw that his servants whispered, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said unto his servants, Is the child dead? And they said, He is dead. Then David arose from the earth, and washed and anointed himself, and changed his apparel, and came into the house of Jehovah, and worshipped. Then he came to his own house, and when he required, they set bread before him, and he did eat. Then said his servants unto him, What thing is this that thou hast done? Thou didst fast and weep for the child while it was alive, but when the child was dead, thou didst rise and eat bread. He said, While the child was yet alive, I fasted and wept, for I said, Who can tell whether God will be gracious to me, that the child may live? But now he is dead. Wherefore should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him, but he shall not return to me. And David comforted Bathsheba his wife, and went in unto her, and lay with her, and she bare a son, and he called his name Solomon. And Jehovah loved him, and he sent by the hand of Nathan the prophet. He called his name Jedediah, because of the Lord. All right, so there's so much to unpack in this tragic episode in David's life. And next week, we're going to examine his misdeeds, and then we're going to read how he felt after his talk with Naaman. We're going to point out some very important points in this story. We know that he was a man after God's own heart, but we've also seen character flaws that cannot be ignored. Listen, church, even the best of us have weaknesses. We hope you enjoyed this study. We thank you so much for tuning in. We pray that you would share this lesson with others. Like us and let folk know that you can learn something about the Word of God. Until next week, we always pray you'll be careful and be prayerful. God bless you.
Show me, Lord, show me the way. Lord, I need you to show. Please, Jesus, show me the way. The way. Because I'm down here. your awesome power to show me the way. Lord, I'm your child, and I need you.